What's up, everybody? I'm the Prodigy,
Magic Man.
and we're back here with another episode of the Rundown. Today we're going to cover the fights from this last weekend, which was UFC Fight Night 147, which was Darren Till versus Jorge Masvidal, which they were saying George all day.
Were they?
Yeah, they weren't saying Jorge. I thought it was Jorge at first.
It's got to
too.
be Jorge.
Yeah. So that took place in London. So I was like, once I seen it, I was like, yes, they're not calling more. It's like I didn't mess it up. So this fight we covered just the three main card fights. Everybody else basically wasn't really known on this card, so we just kind of picked up the guys that people would know or would kind of keep interest in. So the first fight that we're going to cover is Dominic Reyes versus Vulcan. I'm horrible with names.
Oezdemir?
Yeah.
Oezdemir?
Yeah, but so anyway, Vulcan. I think it's the most people know him by now. So this fight was pretty back and forth from what I heard. A lot of good exchanges standing up. A lot of kind of crisp boxing.
And Vulcan had a couple takedowns throughout the fight, and I think Dominic just got right back up and kind of like boxed him off from there. But
it was pretty back and forth. Again, a lot of these fights on these ESPN Plus.
Because again, split decision.
Yeah, split decision, super close. And with these fights on ESPN, it's like a lot of people just catch the highlights of these and. They're switching over to that, so that's going to be kind of a pain in the ass. So we're going to have to get that and figure out how that's going to work out. But hopefully we can get that.
Because they just moved everything, all the pay-per-views and everything to ESPN Plus.
Yeah, it's kind of a bummer, but hopefully they'll.
I was starting to watch an interview with Dana White and that Olivia girl.
Yep.
And they were kind of trying to explain it, but I didn't have time to really sit down and listen to it yet. But
I just.
He's saying it's supposed to be better. Because you're supposed to be able to bundle a bunch of pay-per-views together. So say you buy like 4 of them. Instead of having to go through all the different pay-per-views, Showtime, or whatever it's been, you can just buy it through ESPN, buy 4 of them at a time, and get a deal at the end of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, it might be a good thing. We just have to wait and see, I guess.
Yeah, it's another new thing, so I don't like change.
Yeah.
But again, this is a really good fight. But when we picked this fight, we actually picked Vulcan.
Yeah.
And it actually, the judges, they went the other way. But again, this is a really close fight, and with Reyes being, I think it's 14-0 now, 15-0 now, something like that.
I think now it's 12-0.
Is it 12-0?
He was 10-0, now he's 11-0.
Okay.
Because remember I had 9.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because we had different. That's right.
Yeah. But if you keep adding those up, he's like 27-0.
Yeah, he's fine. He's doing good. But yeah, that's another big step for him. And unfortunately, I think that's 3 losses in a row for Vulcan, right?
Probably.
Because he lost to DC, Smith, and now Reyes.
Yeah.
So, but again, that 205 division is so stacked. There's so many good guys in there. Again, DC, Gustafson, Anthony Smith, Dominic Reyes. There's so many good guys. And
like we were saying, that 205 is just pretty much stacked.
Yeah,
all the way through the top 10.
It's blowing up right now. There's so many good guys, too, that are probably coming up in top 15 killers that we don't even know about that way.
Yeah.
Which is, it's good to see. I'm excited to see the tests, see if for John Jones, who's now the champion, some good guys coming up for him and some new blood.
Some real tests, because somebody called him out. I think it was Vulcan called him out before the fight.
Yeah, you got to win before you call somebody out. Yeah, that's bad juju on him.
Right.
So the next fight, Dominic Reyes won that fight. Unfortunately, we picked Vulcan, so we were both wrong on that fight.
The judges are wrong. It's cool.
Yeah, so we think the judges are wrong. But again, it was a split decision, so a super close fight. And we thought it was going to be a close fight, too, but I just kind of thought Vulcan's experience would take over. But
yeah, that veteran.
Reyes being undefeated definitely showed why he's undefeated and kind of keeps that streak. And so that's good for him. And, big ups to him and see what's next for him. So maybe he'll
push him into that top 5.
Yeah, he'll get a top 5 guy. That's what we're hoping for. And the next fight is Leon Edwards and Gunnar Nelson.
Another one we picked wrong.
Yeah, we're
0 for 2?
Yeah, 0 for 2. We're not doing good this last couple. Hopefully we get these picks.
Good thing I don't bet on these.
That's what I'm saying.
I've been a long time not to bet, because whatever I want to win never happens.
Right. So if you do watch these, pick the opposite of us lately.
Yeah,
so that's good. That's unfortunate.
This was another good 170 fight, though, because the 170 is really taken off, too, I think.
Yeah,
it's stacked.
There's a lot of good fighters in this weight class.
And this was a sad one for me, because I wanted Gunnar to win.
Yeah, we both picked Gunnar, too.
And from everything I read, it seemed like he controlled most of the fight.
The highlights I saw, I thought he was going to win, and it just, again, it comes down to
And I think if you end the fight on top in mount,
it's hard.
How do you disagree with that?
That's what I saw, too, is using mount, and I don't know.
But
again, it's in London, so
this is why we don't leave this stuff to the judges.
Yep, and
because it's Leon
crowd.
From?
Yep. He's from London, yeah, hometown crowd. So it's, I mean, it sucks, but if you're gonna go to the backyard of somebody, you gotta actually beat him up, and being that close to a fight, it makes sense that Leon won it with the judges.
Yeah.
But again, it was another good takedown, back and forth, up and down fight.
Yeah, with some good boxing. I do know that Edwards did kind of control the second round. He got taken down once, but got right back up and then controlled the distance with Gunnar. Kept him at bay pretty much, and
his stand up is so crisp and clean. Like
he's got some really sick skills. Power.
Yeah,
he didn't show backstage, but
no, yeah, we'll get to that.
We'll get to that.
It's cool to see, and I just seen an interview with Leon today saying, again, Leon won by a split decision, but saying that he either wants, of course, Masvidal, which we'll get into that later, or he wants a title shot, and he said he's willing to wait for either of those. And I think most people get, like, after a 4 or 5 win streak, they get a title shot, and he's on a 7-fight win streak now.
Right.
And so, I mean, he's definitely in line there. But that 170 division is so stacked. I mean, you got Kobe waiting. You got so many people in there waiting.
Dude, nobody likes that guy.
Yeah, nobody likes him. But he's still out there.
Did you listen to the Usman podcast yet?
No, we'll talk about that again after I listen to it. So
okay.
I haven't listened to it yet.
It was good.
Yeah, I just haven't had the time yet. Which, I mean, again, Usman is just a killer, dude.
Dude, listening to his whole story, and we can talk about it later.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, Leon took that fight, split decision.
Yep.
Which
again, it's close, but I mean, it sounds like he just that second round was really what made the difference in that fight, and he really, I think the other 2 rounds were so close they could have went either way.
Yeah, I guess the first round was so back and forth that if it would have been anything, it would have been a 2-1 towards Edwards.
Yep, being hometown crowd makes complete sense, And again, not saying that the judges are biased or anything, but that's kind of a lot of how it is. They judge kind of where they are or what they're kind of used to.
And you gotta wonder if the fans,
people screaming and people in the back going, yeah. The judge is like, oh, that sounds like you like that. Okay. You never know with judges.
Right.
And then, so we'll get into the main event, which was a crazy fight. Really back and forth.
Because Till controlled the first round.
Yeah, and dominantly too. He was in, like, you got to take down, took him down, controlled him. Was the whole fight was just basically, or the first round it was Till.
I think it was all Till's fight until it was over.
From what I seen, that's what it looked like. But it sounded like, or it looked like Masvidal had some good moments where maybe he got to take
just
down.
Kind of sitting, being patient.
Yeah, and he was kind of lulled him in, and that aggressiveness is what I picked for this fight. Was the reason why I thought he was going to win. I picked the 3rd round, but he ended up doing it in the 2nd. But so the winner of that fight, if you haven't seen it yet, is Jorge Masvidal won by a knockout, which is one of the scariest knockouts I've seen in a really long time. The way Till fell, and again that weight cut for Till, and I said this before, is it's hard for your body to
take that punishment, rehydrate.
Yeah, rehydrate. The last thing to hydrate is your brain. And that's so scary. And you can see with that guy that 8 weeks out to where fight night is, he looks like a completely different person in his face. Like, he looks like a skeleton. And it's kind of scary to see that. Because I had never really, like, paid attention or seen enough of his face to see where the weight cut really drained him like that. I was like, oh my God. Because usually I just see him, the first week of the fight or whatever, But this kind of, you see a lot of the pictures leading up to it. But and again, I was wondering before how long he could stay in this weight class. And I don't know. It's 2 losses in a row by now. He lost by Dars, but he dropped, and that was in the 2nd round.
Because this is his 3rd loss.
2nd loss. The 2nd in a row, because he lost to Woodley and now lost.
But he must have had one before that. Because now he's 17-3.
No, 17-2.
The UFC website lied to me.
Yeah, they're liars. Yeah, no, because the only people he's lost to was Woodley and now Masvidal.
Okay.
Which is, again, that was a devastating knockout.
That looked like he killed him. Straight up killed him.
And the way he went, it kind of hit him and pushed his momentum too to hit his head. It was just...
Because he was just, like, so wide open. Because he was throwing, like, that back kick and he had his face wide open. And bam.
And then again, as he's falling, Masvidal hit him. Bam. It's so crazy when you see him getting hit on the way out while they're still down. It's one of those... It's devastating. And you definitely see that... that Masvidal was ready for that, and he knew kind of what Till's game was.
He's got that killer instinct. Yeah, and once he smells blood.
He's so aggressive and mean, too. Like you said, once he smells blood. But I think it's just he hit so hard that he was tired of getting picked apart, and he was like, I'm going to go after this guy.
Right.
It happened. He just landed that mean left hook. And then he had, pretty good post-fight, I guess you could call it.
What do they say? They give him the 3-piece with a Coke?
Yeah, what was it, a 3-piece meal? Yeah, something like that.
3-piece meal with a drink?
Some 3-piece chicken, something. Yeah, that was so funny. So if nobody's seen this, the craziest thing happened, of course, Leon Edwards won his fight against Gunnar Nelson. And so then that was a co-main event, and then the main event, Masvidal beat Darren Till. And then while Masvidal's in the back getting interviewed by ESPN, Edwards walks by and he yells what, as at least Masvidal said, he yells July. Like, I want to fight you in July.
Yep,
kind
calling
of
him
saying,
out.
like we're going to do it in July. And Masvidal did not take kindly to that, and apparently sounds like Edwards said something again as he's walking away, and Masvidal kind of went after him. And
I love, my favorite part is just he walks up with his hands behind his back, like, calm, collected, and just starts popping him in the face.
And he landed 5 shots at least, fast, too, like a little cat pops. And when you right away you see Edwards turn, and he split him right under his eye, which was crazy. That. So he clocked him good. It was starting to swell up, and then Edwards threw like a push kick kind of thing, but somebody had already grabbed Edwards and grabbed Till or Masvidal and spun him away. And so it's wild, and they were screaming for a little while and went at it, but all the interviews I've heard, nobody seems like, at least they might get some kind of suspension, but nobody seems like upset about it.
No.
Like they kind of expected it with these two kind of guys. They're both like brash, tough guys that kind of walk around with their ego, and then they're not afraid. And God, I don't remember who it was. I want to say it was Bisping or somebody said that if there's one guy that you're going to talk crap to that will hit you, it's George Masvidal.
Yeah,
like
he's just that guy. He's like, because like you said earlier, he grew up in that backyard brawl where he doesn't give a shit, dude.
And he would meet,
like you come talk shit, like let's talk shit.
He'd fight barehand, and no matter, and who knows how many street fights he's got into from somebody running their mouth like that.
Yeah.
And obviously that was in his first. You could tell it wasn't his first time. He didn't seem shy about it or anything, and it kind of was more of just like a scuffle than more of a brawl. People kind of like separated real quick, and they didn't really get too much into it. But Masvidal was quick and landed good. I want to say 4 or 5 punches at least, and split him open real good. So it was exciting to kind of see that, but again, it's hard. And Dana White's like, we got to figure out a way to stop this. Don't bring fighters and let fighters walk around all willy.
Right.
Make sure there's security guards everywhere. Make sure that people are being escorted. Especially if a guy's getting interviewed, make sure another guy can't interview him, because that was definitely disrespectful for Edward to yell in the middle of his interview.
Yeah, that's kind of what I saw. Another interview, must have been with Ariel Helwani. One of these days I'll say his name right.
Ariel
Helwani.
The mermaid. Yeah, I don't know if you like the Little Mermaid, whatever. Bro.
Okay. Anyways, he was interviewing George, and it must have been when George was flying back. It looked like he was in a wheelchair.
Masvidal?
Getting pushed to the airport.
Ooh, must have hurt his foot.
Yeah, something. And he was talking. He's like, yeah, I was doing my interview just like I'm supposed to, and I heard him talking shit in the back, and it was just disrespectful, and it made me mad. So I walked up saying, say that shit to my face, and then Leon put his hands up, and he's like, all right. Just reacted to it.
I remember him saying that when somebody puts their hands up like that, where I come from,
because he walked up with his hands behind his back, not threatening.
Yeah, and they came around that little barricade, and it was over before it even can happen. Right. It was so awesome to see, but again, I don't condone that, but when it does happen between two guys like that, it's it makes sense. They're two guys that are trying to be the best fighters in the world, and this is what they do, and it's ego, and it's kind of the human response,
and what are these people? They're fighters. This is what they do every day, all day.
They're always guys too that prove they'll fight anybody, anywhere, anytime, and that was one of those things.
Yeah.
And to have that mindset, it sucks for the media or whatever, and the mass majority of people don't really understand fighting or understand that that kind of competitiveness in a person. They don't really understand that. But as somebody who kind of is competitive, I know what that feels. I'll prove it right now. Don't believe me. I work so hard for this. I'll prove it any point, anytime, anywhere, and that's what they work for. So it's good to kind of see that, but at the same time, it's kind of shitty. Edward got cut, beat up worse after his fight than in his fight. But it's actually going to lead up to a really big fight. But Edward said that he doesn't know how they can set up a fight with him and Masvidal now, because he says anytime, any place he sees that guy, like, he doesn't care if they're in a hotel, he doesn't care if they're at backstage, whatever, he's going to go after him. And so it's like, I hope they set it up, but they do like they did with DC and Jones, where
keep
they
them
did
apart forever.
different rooms, and that'd be awesome, because that would build up such a big fight, and maybe the winner of that would
And I
get
did
the title
actually
shot.
see a funny post from Masvidal. It was a quote saying that he wants a title shot, and he would fight his own mother for the belt.
Yeah, because they were asking if he'd fight Colby, or if he'd take a shot over Colby, and because him and Colby Covington are really good friends apparently.
Okay.
And so he was like, "Yeah, I'll fight my mother. Like, I don't care who it is, anybody, anywhere. Like, give me that title shot." Which
Right.
that's awesome. And again, he proved that backstage with I don't want every fighter to go out there and beat each other up, but backstage. But it's good to see these two guys are like, this is what we want.
This is gonna be
We're
a
not
war.
afraid of anybody. So. At least where I come from and how I grew up, it's always a little exciting to see those guys. It makes it more
Gives us
real.
something to talk about.
Yeah, two guys that are respectable is always nice, but again, they always want that little bit of a clash between people. That's why the people like Mike Tyson so much, because he always was getting in people's faces and saying his little poems and making people very upset and verbally. And Muhammad Ali is the same way. It brings people's attention.
Mm-hmm.
So again, that was a pretty good card. The three fights that I seen in the highlights of everything was a really good card. Looking forward to hopefully Edward or Masvidal either fighting for a title or hopefully fighting each other, and then maybe getting that title shot, because again they both had really good.
Because I feel like right now you have to do Colby and Usman.
That seems like the next viable option.
The title fight.
Yep.
And then you have Edward Masvidal. Maybe go at it.
And hopefully maybe they can fight on the
Whoever
same
wins
card.
that fight gets
Because
the title shot.
Yeah, that'd be cool to have the same same card and the winners fight each other, because it'd be pretty weird if Masvidal and Colby both won. And then Masvidal would have to fight Colby if he wants his belt, which would be.
But right now
I don't think it would ever happen. I don't think.
From
he's
seeing
gonna get
Usman
beat, but
and listening to the interview with him, it's like, I don't know if anybody can beat
that's
him
what I
right
was
now.
saying, and I seen that in the Woodley fights. Like, who's gonna beat that guy?
Yeah.
It's like it's kind of like John Jones. Like, who is gonna beat that guy? Like, it's steroids or not, like whatever you want to say. Like, Usman's never busted, obviously, but again with John Jones, everyone says steroids. But who the hell is gonna beat these guys? Like, they're just such good, and they're good everywhere.
Yeah.
It's not just like no offense to Matt Hughes or anything back in the day though, but he was such a good dominant wrestler. He wasn't known for beating people on the feet. He's known for taking people down, setting those takedowns. That's where these guys beat people everywhere, and it's so exciting.
Yeah, the evolution of the sport's been crazy.
Yes.
Especially in these last 7 years, I want to say.
Yeah, we got a lot of great actual athletes too. Not just guys that are tough fighters. But guys that are actually athletes and putting everything together that would, be great at football or basketball, baseball, whatever it is that they would do. They'd be good at that. But now they're actually putting that talent into fighting. And yeah, you see a lot more just straight athleticism and talent in fighting. A lot more boxers. A lot more people that are probably good at boxing. Over here doing MMA now. And so it's very good to see we get a good variety of people now instead of just us tough guys, us roughnecks, as Dion likes to call us. So yeah, again, UFC Fight Night 147 London was it was a good card. Big things to take away is Dominic Reyes is on the up and coming. Hopefully he gets another top 5 guy, top 10 guy, and if he wins.
So does this mean Till's done?
Yeah, it's pretty. I'd say 170. He should go up to 85. Test the waters at 85. If nothing at 85. No offense to Till,
this
but
is
maybe
kind of a hard last one.
take a Bellator tour or maybe somewhere like ONE FC or somewhere across. Because you're not having good success in the UFC, whether it could be mental, it could be a lot of things. Go to a different promotion where you feel like you're the big fish in the pond instead of the little fish, and kind of maybe build that confidence back up and come back.
And I did just see a big promotion for DJs.
Yeah, at the ONE
Like,
FC, right?
yeah.
That's exciting. I didn't see who the guy he's fighting. Do you know the guy's
Some
name?
Chinese guy.
Yeah,
Japanese guy.
I'm not very good with their names. It's hard to remember. And that weight, 125. There's so many guys that are over there in Japan fighting at that weight. It's hard. I'm hoping that they put Brandon Vera on that card though, hopefully, because Brandon Vera is a fucking animal.
Right.
Yeah. So again, Dominic Reyes in the up and up. Leon Edwards, Masvidal. Hopefully they fight each other. If not, I would just For me,
I think
I'd
that's the way
see
that
those
has
two
to
fight,
go.
yeah.
You have to do Colby and Usman, and then do Masvidal Edward.
And I want to see you on the same card, and then have Edward or whatever Masvidal, whoever wins that one, come up and call out the champ during the fight.
Yep.
And do that whole little thing where they're getting whatever. That's always fun when they used to do that. Chuck and Tito used to do that.
Or when Brock pushed DC.
Yeah, Brock Bush DC. Yeah, see, so that's always fun. So the next card we're just going to cover, I think it's 4 fights in this card again. It's just basically the main card. A lot of these is another card on the ESPN Plus, right?
Yep.
Again, everything's kind of switching over to that, so hopefully we'll actually be able to catch this card. We're trying to figure out how that's going to work out.
I'm going to be a little busy on Saturday.
Yeah, you'll be a little busy, but hopefully we can catch more than just some highlights or something. I'll try to figure out if I can get ESPN at my house or not. We'll try to, hopefully something, but yeah, we'll get into, again, why Jay's going to be busy on Saturday night here in a few minutes. But the next card is UFC Fight Night 148 Nashville, and it's headlined by Stephen Thompson, who is taking on Anthony Pettis, which is Pettis' first fight at 170, I believe.
Which is crazy to me.
Yeah, he won all
Because his last fight
45.
was 55, but before that he had 4. Do you want to start with this one?
Well, we can go. We'll start with just start with Medeski. That's fine.
Okay.
We'll go back into that. But
All right. So, John Medeski versus Justin Willis. The only reason I really know Medeski at all is when Cowboy.
is that the right name? Willis. No, Justin Willis was fighting Curtis
Oh,
Blades.
God damn it.
We got the name.
It's
somewhere.
Jesus Penendo.
What?
Pendo?
Oh, Pinedo. Okay,
Pinedo.
yeah, Pinedo. Yeah, okay,
Yep.
yeah. Okay, Pinedo. Yeah, he's like 12-4. Yep, I remember this fight. Okay, yep. John Medeski versus Pinedo. Okay, yeah.
Yep, he's 16-4,
16-4.
and John is 16-6.
16-6. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I looked this fight up, and Pinedo, he is like he's lost 2 fights by decision, 2 fights by TKO. His last fight, I think he lost. I want to say it was 4.
His
5
last
years ago.
fight he won. Oh, 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it was his last loss. He lost by KO.
Okay.
But before that, and I think right before that, it was a TKO, which was a couple fights before that, and then the 2 before that obviously were decisions. But sounds like might be a suspect chin. But he's had a lot of good success so far since that loss, and I think he has his 2nd or 3rd fight in the UFC.
I think, yeah, because I can only find one in
fight
the UFC.
Okay, yeah, so I
Yeah.
think it's his 2nd fight in the UFC, and as was Masvidal, I think he has maybe 10, 12 fights in the UFC. And he's kind of been up and down in his career.
I think he's coming off a
UFC-wise.
3-fight win streak, 2 decisions and a KO, knockout.
Okay.
But before that, it was a hard knockout by Don Cerrone.
So
When he
Cerrone,
broke his
that's
jaw,
right, yeah, broke his
remember?
jaw, yeah. So he's 3-0 since he came back from the broken jaw. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, because I do remember that. He got his jaw broke really bad. Yeah, that sucks. But for this fight,
Man, that just proves kind of his toughness. Come back from a fight like that, go on a 3-fight win streak.
Yep, and he was super tough before Cerrone too, and that's why he
Yeah.
got to step up to Cerrone. But again,
Because that was like a last-minute fight, wasn't it? Somebody
I wanna
dropped
say
out?
Something. It was pretty close. Yeah, one of those ones where.
Or maybe Medeski's opponent backed out and
yeah, and
Cerrone stepped
Cowboy
in.
jumped in is what I think. Yeah, it's one of those
Okay.
ones because he has so many of those where he just hey, I'll fight anybody. But Medeski, yeah, he's got really good stand up, and good kicks. He's had some really good fights. I want to say he had a good fight with Paul Fielder, if that's correct. Pretty early in his.
Yeah, and his last
career.
one was Ross Pearson.
Pearson, yeah, he beat by a 3-round decision, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and which is Ross is a tough guy.
Yeah, because I remember him on the Ultimate Fighter just being a
and
monster.
he had probably 2 or 3 years ago he was on a pretty good tear. It's kind of fallen off lately. Again, Medeski beat him and stuff, but
Yeah, because neither of these guys are ranked.
no, I
at
don't
the
think
moment.
they're ranked. Which I thought was a really weird fight to be on the main card, but again, a lot of these ESPN cards are just throwing guys in here and trying to give them fights, and they're doing a lot more fights nowadays than they used to, and I think they said they have like 4 or 5.
I think we've had a fight every weekend for the last month and a half.
Yeah, since we've been doing this.
Wow.
We're gonna have to skip a few here coming up, but that's okay. But yeah, no. So Medeski, if I had to pick, I would pick Medeski by TKO. I just again, I've read a little bit about Pinedo, and what I kind of seen from him seems his chin might be a little suspect.
Yeah, and just the second fight in the UFC, I'm gonna give the guy with a little bit more experience, but I'm gonna say decision.
Ledecky by decision.
Yeah.
I'll go TKO in the second. That's what I'll say. Which, it looks like it's bound to be a pretty good fight. Again, not two guys that are ranked, but two guys that are probably coming out to show that they deserve to be ranked. And they deserve to be up there, at least get a shot to the top 10. The next fight I'm actually super excited about, and I looked up these two guys that are 125 pounds, and they are two guys that have fought. One guy, Hoosier, how do you say his last name?
Flamingo,
yeah, Hoosier. But he's ranked number 1 right now at 125.
Yep.
His only losses, I think he has 5 losses, and it's Ian McCall, John Dodson, Joseph Benavidez.
So those guys that have been
like
ranked
just
at the top.
every time he lost to the guy, they were ranked in the top 5 at the time.
Yep.
And so every guy he's lost to is up there. I think he's on like a 3 or 4 fight win streak, something like that. But he's a guy that's 3 fight right now.
1 decision, 2 submissions.
1 decision, 2 submissions. Yeah, and he's a guy that, again, been in there with some of the best guys, and that's the only time he's ever lost. So coming up, it's a very, very good test. Again, he's number 1. He wins this fight, he's definitely going to get his title shot at 125 against.
His last one was against Pettis' brother.
He just beat Sergio, yeah.
Sergio.
Yep. And so now, again, Sergio's ranked up there. Probably, I want to say Sergio's probably top 5 for sure. Hoosier's number 1 now. So after that, he's going to fight, if he wins this fight, he's definitely going to get a shot with Henry Cejudo. Unless Cejudo obviously jumps up and tries to fight TJ. And if not, maybe then, or if he does, maybe
then. Hopefully this is an exciting fight, because you need to bring life to that 125
division. I looked up this next guy that we were talking about, Delvson Figueroa, and dude, he's 15-0, and this guy is a firecracker, bro.
His last 2 fights are knockout in the second round.
He will beat the shit out of people. I am serious. I watched his highlights, and he is an animal, man. He has some really, really good fights, some really good skill, and he's small and just built like a brick shit house, dude. He is honestly
he's coming for war.
He's coming for. He's 15-0. I think he's 4 or 5-0 in the UFC right now. Like, he is coming for a war, and this is. Honestly, I think this is this one or the next card is definitely going to be like the dark horse of the card. This is going to be the card that's going to stand out, I think, especially for and definitely as a 125 division fight. This is going to be huge for that, and it's going to show what
whoever gets this should get a title shot.
Definitely, 100%. The next guy is going to get a title shot, especially Figueroa being 15-0, Hoosier only losing to
those championship level guys,
which was so crazy to see that. They're only top 5 guys.
Yep.
And at the time, they're all ranked top 5.
Because I'm sure, like, when he lost, those people got the title shot.
Yep. And they went on. Yep. With Dodson, all.
And they all lost to DJ.
They all lost, yeah. Most of them lost to DJ, yeah. If they didn't lose to DJ, they lost to Henry Cejudo, which is, again, the champ right now. So it's hard to count any of those guys out. But this Delvson guy when I was looking up, man, I'm going to hype this guy so much as a 125er. He's coming out to go after it. And Hoosier, again, is number 1, but I think this Delvson's the next big thing at 125. It's going to be a really, really exciting fight, and I hope it just is a brawl for 3 rounds. But if I pick, I'm going to pick Delvson for sure.
All right, well, then easy. I'm going to pick Hoosier.
Yeah,
bad decision.
It's hard, right? Yeah, there you go. So I'm going to go Delvson, but I'm going to go by KO. Because, again, his last 2 fights been knockout. He comes out and he goes after people. Watching his highlight reel today, it was giving me adrenaline rush. I was like,
Get you a little bit excited?
The same thing that happened when I heard an interview about the next fight I'm going to get into. It's the heavyweight fight. Oh, my God, dude. Hearing this guy talk scared me. And obviously, I'm a little guy, but I would not want to be fighting him.
Which one?
Justin Willis.
Okay.
Do you know much about Justin Willis?
I have not heard anything about him yet.
Oh, man, he's a wild man. So we'll get into this fight because this is a card that again, Justin Willis, right when I heard his first interview, I looked up this card and was like, dude, these are the fights we have to look up. And I sent you the picture of it. It was because I heard this guy talk and I heard his like a 2-minute interview. But so the next fight we're going to cover, again, I pick Figueroa. He picks Hoosier. So that's at 125 pounds, which is going to be super exciting. It's a big fight for the 125-pound division, so I'm glad they're getting this matchup.
Hopefully it brings it back to life.
Yeah, it brings it back to life.
It would suck to lose a division like that.
It would, and especially because there's so many guys down there that deserve that. They deserve the credit, and again, there's so many Asian guys out there that are from different countries, and not only Asians, but a lot
Why did you
of
say that?
small
'Cause they're
people.
small?
But I mean, just like ONE FC, they have so
Yeah.
many good guys over there that don't get the recognition that they deserve over here and get the pay that they probably deserve over here. Or who knows? ONE FC might pay bank, and I'm talking on my ass, but I don't know. But okay, so the next fight is heavyweight, and it is Curtis Blades versus Justin Willis. Curtis Blades is 10-2, and his only 2 losses though are both to Francis Ngannou.
Both of them were?
Both by TKO. I think the first one was in the second or third round, and the last one he got knocked out in 45 seconds by Francis.
That was
Ngannou.
his last fight. Yep.
Yeah, that was Francis. That was Francis's big comeback fight. Curtis Blades is supposed to beat him, but knocked out in 45 seconds. Okay.
Because
So
Curtis
now-
Blades is more of a wrestler, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'll
So
kinda
this
get
is
into
after
it.
Thompson and Derek Lewis, then he fought Curtis Blades.
Yep, fought Curtis Blades.
Okay.
Yep. And again, and that was Francis's big comeback. They were like, "Oh my God, is he done? This guy's probably gonna out wrestle him." And he
Yep.
got about 45 seconds, proved everybody. So Curtis Blades is definitely coming to prove something in this fight. But the guy that he's fighting is Justin Willis, and he trains at AKA with Cain Velasquez, DC. He trains with
Khabib.
with Khabib. He trains with Luke Rockhold. Okay? And what he said in his interview is he was always a punching bag for DC and Cain. Nobody else would stay there. He was the one that would stay late. He's the one that would show up to all their fight camps. He's the only one after all these years that stuck around.
So
And now it's
he's
his
been
time.
working his
Yeah.
abuse to the
And
championships.
He was 1-1 as an amateur. He lost by I want to say TKO or a decision his first amateur fight. Won his second amateur fight. Had his first pro fight and lost a decision, I believe. But now he's won 12 or 8 in a row or 9 in a row after that.
Yeah, because he's
Um,
8-1.
Yep. I think he has 1 fight in the UFC right now. But he is a scary.
And his last fight was against Mark Hunt.
Mark Hunt. Yep, he beat that. That's right. He beat Mark Hunt for a 3-round decision.
Then it was a Sherman and a Crowder. I didn't.
Oh,
recognize.
he beat 2 other guys too before that.
Yep.
Sure.
Those should have been his last 3.
Okay. Yep. That's right. But yeah, again, he's 8-1. He lost his first amateur fight. Been won every fight since then. And I don't know if he was training with Cain and then back then, because again, that was his first fight was like 2009. His second fight was 2010. His third fight was 2012. Then he didn't come back and fight his actual second pro fight until 2014.
Okay.
And so he's been fighting basically from 2014 on steadily.
So like the last 5 years.
Yeah, 5 years. So he's at one of the best camps with 2 of the best heavyweights of all time, always in there pushing, grinding, and he comes to knock people out. That is his deal. He wants to knock people out. I think he's only won by knockout or decision.
And it says last 3 fights were all decision.
Yeah, so he's won knockout and decision, and he was talking about Curtis Blades, and he said that he knows that Curtis Blades is afraid of him. He knows that he's afraid that when he hits him, or he knows that when he hits him that Curtis is afraid to get hit and he's gonna shoot.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, he can wrestle me all he wants because I wrestle with the best 2 heavyweights in the world.
Right.
And he's like, I'm not worried about it one bit.
Try and touch
And
me.
right when he said that, I was like, oh shit, like what is this guy gonna like? Because there's absolutely no lie about that 100%. He wrestled
Right.
with the 2 best heavyweights of all time, and obviously one was an Olympic wrestler, one was Cain Velasquez. Like there's no way getting around that you're training with the 2 best guys, and right now they're pushing you. They're both guys that are both just in camps, both fighting. They're both active. DC's getting ready for another fight. I'm sure it's coming up soon, so
Hopefully
they're pushing
July.
this kid. And so I think this is going to be a great fight, but I think Justin Willis is going to put it on Curtis Blades, and I am so excited to see it. And I feel bad for Curtis Blades again, but this Justin Willis guy.
Because his
is
last
so
3
on.
fights are pretty impressive. It was Ngannou,
Yep,
and then he beat Overeem, and then he beat Hunt.
beat Hunt.
So,
And I mean, it's a great matchup, but again, this Justin Willis sold me. And all I had to see was
You
him
jumped on the
talk for
train?
2 minutes. And I seen him fight before. I seen him fight Mark Hunt because I was disappointed that Mark Hunt lost that fight. And it was one.
was that Hunt's last fight then?
One of the last 2, I believe.
Okay.
But yeah, but it was a decision, but he kind of put it on Mark Hunt, unfortunately. And Mark Hunt's always been one of my fan favorites forever. Since back in the Pride days when he did the jump over and sit on people. Like, that shit was so badass. But yeah, Justin Willis, though, and everything he said was true. Like, he comes out to win. He's not afraid of Curtis's wrestling. He knows that Curtis can be knocked out because only 2 times he's been knocked out was by
Yeah, but
his
you're
loss was
getting
knockouts.
hit by a cinder block.
I think this guy thinks he'll knock out Nagano. This Justin Willis. I think he thinks
He's
can
coming
knock
for
out.
him?
I think so.
Okay.
I think he's working his way up. So I am very.
Because he is number 10 in the world right now.
Yep.
Curtis Blade's still number 4.
Number 4. Yep.
So if he wins this gets him up to almost that top 5.
I think for sure he'll get a top 5 after this, and I hope it's someone like Overeem or someone, because he'll beat the shit out of those guys, man. I can't wait to watch this guy. I hope again I'm not these last 2 guys. I'm not overselling, but dude, they both sold me watching their highlights and just hearing them talk. It's like, yeah, I'm sold on these 2. So you can pick, obviously, who I'm picking, but
I mean, I'm gonna take Curtis Blades then, just to be
a little
devil's advocate.
Yeah, I'm going Justin Willis by 2nd round knockout.
I'll give Curtis the decision.
Okay, good. All right. All right, so then the main event we'll get to real quick, and it is Stephen Thompson versus Anthony Pettis, which, again, we were talking about. Anthony Pettis started his career at 55, got to the UFC, didn't have very much success at 55. He came over as the WC champ. Didn't really have a success like he thought he was going to. Went to 45, but really was kind of killing his body at 45.
Yeah.
Came back up to 55, had moderate success, and now he's jumping up to 70. So I wonder if that's just... And I know that
just sick of
I
cutting.
think he's lost his last 3 fights in a row, if I believe so.
He's lost 2 out of 3.
2 out of 3.
He lost to Ferguson, beat Chasia, and then lost to Poirier.
Okay, and then before that, and I think he's 5-4 in his last 8-9 fights, something like that.
He's kind of on
it's not been very good
tough
for
streak.
him, unfortunately. And so I wonder if this is just his last ditch effort to kind of come up to 70, not have to worry about cutting weight, kind of just get out there and be able to hopefully enjoy himself with somebody who's stylistically pretty close to him. He doesn't really have to worry about coming out and getting taken down and held down the whole round.
Yeah, it should be an exciting fight.
I think
because
so,
I remember the last couple fights. Well, obviously the last fight was so exciting with Ferguson.
Yeah, that was.
And I believe it was with Chasia after he lost to Poirier. He kind of revamped himself to get back to that old Pettis, that exciting Pettis, the one that didn't sit and think and try to wrestle, just let everything go.
Yeah, that was a very good fight.
And again, hopefully we see him come back.
And again, I wrote down on my notes earlier. Pettis needs this fight.
Yeah,
he really, really does.
And
if he doesn't win this, he's got to retire. And honestly, it's probably best for him to start thinking about that, man. I mean, he's done a lot in his career. There's no reason to
30 fights almost. This will be 30.
And yeah, it's unfortunate because he's such a good guy.
Exciting.
And he's so fun to watch, and his style is just so crazy. His kicks, he's knocks so many people out. Like Joe Lozon, I mean, he jumped off the cage and kicked Ben Henderson in the face. Like, there's so many good moments of his that you can think about, especially for being a lightweight fighter. And I always pull for Pettis because back in the day when I had my first actual title fight in MMA for Conquer the Cage in Wisconsin, it was the weigh-in day, and we'd get there, and the guy I'm supposed to fight comes in on a crutch and pretends his ankle's hurt. And so he won't fight me, so he backs out of the fight. So then they scramble, they rip.
But did you say pretends?
He pretends, yeah. He wasn't really hurt. Yeah, and we all knew it because we saw him at the fights, and he was limping on the opposite leg. It's like, bro, you forgot which leg, dude. This is so ridiculous. He was such a piece of shit. But anyway, so they were scrambling to get fights, and it was either between a guy from Adrian Serrano's gym, who I ended up fighting, or Anthony Pettis. But Anthony Pettis' gym took it down did turn the fight down because he only had 2 fights at the time. But both his fights were won by knockout. And so I remember being like, I don't know if I want to fight that guy, coach. So he's from Duke Roof's gym. I don't know, man. And that was when Duke was just starting to come up, and everybody knew him as a kickboxer,
Yeah.
And so his gym wasn't really known as an MMA gym yet, and he didn't have the Woodleys or any of those guys there yet. And Pettis, again, it was his only second fight, so he didn't really be known yet. So I always kind of root for him a little bit because at one point we were kind of almost fighting.
Almost crossed?
Yeah, and I probably got kicked in my face. I mean, I lost the fight anyway, so it would be cooler if it was Anthony Pettis, but whatever. So
we can rewrite that story.
Yeah, we can rewrite it. Can we just go back in this time? I wish.
But this fight does scare me for him because I just don't think he's big enough for Thompson.
I was going to say Stephen Thompson is...
Because he's a big 170.
170. I think he's 6'1", 6'2", maybe. Pettis has got to be 5'9", 5'10" at the most.
Right.
And Stephen Thompson's been in there with some really big guys. I mean, Woodley.
Woodley and Till are his only losses.
Yep. Right, yeah.
2 to Woodley and 1 to Till.
Is it 2 to Woodley?
Yep.
He has a draw. Has he fought Woodley 3 times now? So one was a draw, one was a loss.
Okay.
But yeah, I know. Because I was looking up that earlier. I was like, oh yeah, they ended a draw. I thought it was weird.
So they must have one loss somewhere else, but.
Maybe earlier. One thing that I didn't know about Stephen Thompson, though, that kind of surprised me is he beat Robert Whittaker.
Really?
Yeah. Like one of his, like I think it was like right when him and Whittaker were first coming to the UFC. He must have been fighting at 185. Yeah. Because I don't think Whittaker ever came down to 70.
Yeah.
He's a big motherfucker to be down to 70. But it makes sense if, you know, Thompson
was up.
Like I said, he's a big 70. So, but yeah, that was the fight that surprised me. He TKO'd him in, I want to say, the second round. I was like, damn, dude, he beat fucking Robert
He's
Whittaker.
got that snake-like style.
Yeah.
You know?
And back then, nobody really knew what the deal was, you know? And
Nobody figured out that karate?
Yeah. And now everybody's kind of figuring out what the deal is and how his movements are just from watching so much tape of him because he's kind of
he's
blueprint of the same thing every fight. But yeah, if I was going to attempt to bet in this fight, I wouldn't pick my pick, but you can go ahead and pick first.
Yeah, I'm taking Thompson in this just because I think the size is going to outdo him.
Unfortunately, I think that's right. I'm going to go with Pettis just again because I always kind of root for Pettis. You know, a little bit of a backstory with him, and just as one of the lightweight guys, he was kind of bring it to the map and of what, you know, these guys are capable of, the athleticism of fighters and kind of what us smaller fighters are capable of doing, you know.
Right.
He brought a lot of limelight to, you know, those kickboxing and kind of karate styles before, you know, even Stephen Thompson came in and really was the actual face for karate. We saw that more of a taekwondo style, but good head kicks, a lot of good knockouts, and really good highlights. And again, if he loses this fight, I'd say retire and, you know, just go out. You have a great highlight reel. Why not? So yeah, I'm gonna say Pettis, but again, if I did, I'm gonna say knockout. But that's a hard one for me to pick.
I'm gonna say Pettis, or not Pettis, but Thompson third round knockout.
Third round, okay.
TKO.
Yeah. So yeah, then basically that was our rundown for you know, our recap of what happened last weekend and our rundown for what we think's gonna happen this weekend. Some good fights. Again, I'm super excited about the 125-pound fight and the heavyweight fight. Delson Figueroa versus Hoosier Formiga, I think is how the name to say it, or Flaminga something. But anyway, the 125, that's a super good fight. And then Curtis Blades versus Justin Willis at heavyweight is gonna be fireworks. I think that's gonna be a brawl. Those will be two big guys that are going out there and gonna go at it. Again, Thompson versus Pettis is always stylistically a good kind of matchup, just to kind of how it ends up.
Yeah, stylistically, I think it's a beautiful matchup. I just think size is going to be
Pettis. Definitely, I think so. Especially since he went down to 45 at one time, and there's no way Stephen Thompson in his life can make 55.
Right.
So that's a good one. But so this past weekend, not only did the UFC kind of have a match going on. I actually competed in a tournament as well.
What do you call that thing? A shillelagh again?
A shillelagh? Yeah, Irish shillelagh. I was calling it a shillelagh, but I don't think that's how they say it. I think it's Irish shillelagh. If you don't know what that is, basically it's a club that they take out of the knot of a wood or a knot of a tree, and they kind of like a stick to it.
It's a beaten stick.
Yeah, it makes basically apparently in Ireland. I kind of looked up a little bit, but instead of like doing like sword fight or anything like that, they used to have like club fighting, and so they just make their own clubs and they meet up and fight each other. And apparently every time you won, they would do a little notch in it. So I think I got to put some notches in mine. So. Yeah, so I had a tournament, and if you can't tell, I won the tournament. It was a 145-pound tournament, which for the last few years I've been competing at like 50 and under or 55, which is kind of the normal weight for a lot of the tournaments around here, and we don't really have a specific 45 weight class, so it was nice to actually be able to cut down half to make that actual 45, and I knew I was going to be pretty big at that weight class. Luckily, I cut weight pretty good. I walk around, around 153, 154, so that wasn't too bad for me. But the tournament was for Valhalla Combat Sports. I think I kind of posted it the day of, and I kind of made a little bit of a video before, about a 6-minute podcast or whatever, just talking about it and then kind of explaining about what's going on with you this weekend too. But so the tournament actually didn't turn out to be as big as it was supposed to be. Some of the guys ended up not being able to make it back. I know one guy's in Thailand right now, and just ended up extending his stay there apparently. Some other guys got hurt. Some other guys ended up in the pokies, what they were saying. And then some guys just ended up not showing up the day of. And it kind of sucks because
especially when that happens.
Yeah, it sucks because especially for Valhalla, and it's not their fault at all. They did an awesome show. They always do everything they say they're going to do. They always provide the fighters with everything they need. and it's always a smooth run show. It goes by super fast. It was done in 2 hours. They had, I want to say, 40 jiu-jitsu matches in 2 hours. So they were just running through, and people were just getting choked out and somebody left and right. It was awesome. And it's like in a basement, a little bit of a tournament, kind of a old school, like fight club, if you would, kind of a basement, which is awesome. And again, Valhalla, they're awesome. Thank you guys for the opportunity, but it sucks because they don't make people pay for the tournaments, and I think once you pay for a tournament, it makes you more obligated to want to show up. That's where people kind of, I'll be there, and he kind of takes the word for everybody. But the 55 tournament actually turned out really well. They had probably some of the best, probably one of the best 55 brackets I've seen in a long time. We had some really good guys. Some guys from Canada actually came up. Again, the guys in Thailand, Tyler, he ended up winning it, but I'll see him again hopefully. But no, so the tournament ended up I only ended up beating, I think, 5 people, and so I actually ended up beating 4 people because 2 guys didn't show up the day of. So it was kind of a smaller tournament. My first match was against a kid named Zachariah Jones, I want to say his name was. Good kid, super nice, young. I think he just maybe turned 18, and he's super young. A blue belt, not exactly sure how many stripes. Again, I'm a 3-stripe blue belt, so I kind of felt like I was going to be a little bit bigger than him, and a little bit more of that muscle and strength. And so that match kind of went quick. I think I just came out, took him down, and he ended up shooting in and got a Dars, which is something we kind of work on a lot in the gym. At least I work on a lot. And
we never work on it.
Kind of brought, that's not one of our moves, but we've kind of brought that to light that that's one of those moves that are very easy to get from a lot of positions.
Yeah.
It's once it's in too. So that's one of my favorite moves. Once I get you locked down, it's over. And luckily that happened in the tournament. And so my next match actually was against a guy named Zach Shorter, who is an MMA fighter, and I've competed on shows with him before back in the day in North Dakota, South Dakota. I've seen him fight on some of the Max Fights cards, which were.
He was a jack dude.
He was pretty ripped, dude. He always has been too. And he was fighting at 55, so now he's kind of coming down. You can tell that he's really, there's no body fat in that guy. That's what a lot of the kids were saying too. Is that guy was really big. He's he was short, but he was really wide.
Yeah.
But I'd seen him fight a bunch of times, and I'd want to compete against him. And back in the day, you're always like, that guy does good, so if I do good, I'm going to be able to face him one day. Known as one of those guys that I just never got the opportunity to face. And so seeing that he was in the bracket and kind of how it went out, and that I actually got to go against him in the finals was awesome.
That was a good match.
I thought it was very good too. And one of the things that stuck out to me though was when he came out right away, he shot, got my ankle, had a good pick, put me against the cage, put my knee to my face, and just kind of held me there for a second. And when I was there, it kind of seemed like a lot longer than it was when I watched the video. It was just kind of real quick, but I was like, God, I gotta get my leg back. I got my leg back. The next thing I was on my back. But from that instance when he hit the ground, he was breathing heavy right away, and I could hear it right away. And I kind of went to go for a triangle. He went to pass. I got back to my guard, and once I got back to my guard, I remember you saying calm down, we have 10 minutes, relax. And right when he said that, he was already.
Shit, we got 10 minutes
left. Okay, he's gonna start calming down and catch his breath, and that's when I went for the first triangle. I missed it. He passed. I got back to my half guard, locked it, and then you were lock it down. Made sure I locked it down. I got back to my guard again, and we kind of just played there. And I kind of was working, and I was doing kind of what you said at one point. I was kind of being really nice at first and not really kind of pushing on his face, but then you were pushing on his face. I started really rubbing the forearm in his face and kind of trying to get that distance.
We don't do this to be nice, Ryan.
No, not at all. And then at one point, I went for Ezekiel just to I was trying to get her posture up more because I was going to try to hip bump sweep at some point and try to get on top. But he was just never giving me that space. And everything I was trying to do, pop up for a second and then come right back down, chest to chest, which he was doing very good at keeping me down. But he couldn't control my biceps, and I don't know if that's something he just doesn't work or something I was just really aware of at the time. And so that's something that I kind of felt like I was aware to use my arms at any time that I wanted to. And so I felt like I was in control the whole time, even though he was on top. But I had a closed guard, and I felt good. And then at some point, I was reaching over his head and just covering his mouth, and I know that it was bothering him. And he kept letting me do it, though. And then eventually I went to sink in another Ezekiel, and I could feel that one was really deep. And it was more on his chin, but it was squeezing real hard. And that's when I could feel that he was kind of really breathing heavy. But he was just moving back and forth, which I don't understand why he was, maybe he was just nervous or whatever it was, but he was just breathing really heavy. And I every time I hear that, I kind of take advantage of that, So once I got a hold of his head, and I was doing for that Ezekiel, he popped up again. I let open my guard, and I was hoping he was going to do what he did. And he went to shuck me. When he went to shuck me, I just locked the triangle in, and luckily we've been working triangles. And I actually told Coach Dan about 6 or 8 weeks ago that I wanted to get better at my triangles, and I'm working my triangles. So every time I locked them in, my legs were just getting super tired. I couldn't finish it, and so I've been like making it a goal of mine to get that triangle in. And
Keeps that pressure on.
it worked really well, yeah. And a lot of things we've been working on turning the knee, and a lot of those little things just worked perfect for that. And when I watched the video, I know his corner man was pretty upset. You know, they weren't very happy with me because again, before the match, I was kind of upset that he didn't take another match because there's opportunity for him to actually take another match before us, so we would have both had one match apiece. But he took what I consider, and I mean obviously not trying to be disrespectful, but as a competitor, I always think it's the easy way out to not take a match before another. When somebody else has competed, and so he took a bye all the way to the finals. And again, I only had one match, but it would have been at least a little more viable for me. I wouldn't have been as cocky or as arrogant. And I kind of said some stuff about how he needed the luck, and he was lucky that he got to the finals with me. Just kind of hyping myself up more than anything. And if you know me, anybody knows me, I talk myself up a lot to kind of get into that zone. So I was more talking out loud. His cornerman actually happened to be right there. So I was like, oh shit, like I didn't mean. So afterward, I made sure I apologized to them, and but yeah, I won the tournament. And another thing that happened in the tournament that was kind of cool is Austin Healich actually was in the heavyweight bracket. So there's a 145-pound bracket and a heavyweight bracket, and Austin Healich, who's a pretty good friend of all of ours. I mean, you've been up there training with him a lot lately. He came down a lot for a while down here. Our coach actually trained at his gym and taught at his gym. And so Austin Healich, I think he got third in the world of judo. He's a super big guy. He's fighting at heavyweight now. Was a 205 for a while, or maybe even at 85 at one point. But he ended up winning the heavyweight division with that. And so hopefully we're going to be able to get him on. I think it's the first week of April we talked about. We're going to get him on. And he's got a big fight coming up.
At the Omni Center.
At the Omni Center, yeah. For the 3 reverse throwdown. Yeah. And so we're going to get him on talking about that. And, and again, he's been in the Bellator. He got third in judo in the world. So that's a good guess we're trying to get on. And I was talking to Damian Hill, so we're going to try to get Damian Hill on too. And we're going to talk about how just some of the trials and tribulations we both had during fighting and how we actually fought and how our fight went. I want to kind of ask him what he knew about me leading up to fight and all that stuff, and kind of get both sides of the story. Because that's a fight that probably one of the best beatings I've taken in a fight in MMA, and I'll be honest to admit that I wasn't prepared for that fight, and he made me really realize what it's about. And the fucking kid almost gave my mom a heart attack, so I'll have to tell him that, make him feel bad for it. But again, he's an awesome kid, and he had some trouble with some brain scans and stuff, and yeah, there was some stuff that happened that he couldn't fight for a while, but now he's actually coming back and being able to fight. So I'd like to get that story and kind of pump up some stuff going for him too. So, but with all that being said, we have something that's very, very important going on this weekend. Not to put a bunch of pressure on you, but you're ready and you've been working your ass off. But our Magic Man, the Magic Man, Jay Paulson, is fighting this weekend. You still have time to get tickets. I'm hopefully going to get this out tomorrow, so it'll be on Wednesday. Get a hold of them before Thursday night at weigh-in, or Friday night at weigh-in, right? So before Friday night, so anytime, probably Friday at noon, 10 past that. But get a hold of him for tickets. He's fighting in at Torg's Event Center, right? Torg's.
It's the Holiday Event Center.
The Holiday Event Center in Austin, Minnesota. And it's going to be his pro debut. Again, he's a 2-time amateur 155-pound champion for 2 different promotions. And working his ass off. We've been at the gym. You and Josh are always in here working pads and just working takedowns, wall drills. You've just been working your ass off. And again, I've told you this a bunch of times, but I'm so proud of how you've come and that you're actually at this point in your career to start making a big splash in that pro scene.
Go make some real noise.
Again, if you want to come out and support Jay Paulson, get a hold of him on social media. Facebook, Instagram. I think it's Paulson J, right? Is that what yours is? Paulson J something. Maybe. Jay Paulson. Either way, look him up. You'll find him. His name is in all the comments and all this stuff. Yep. So and he shares all of our posts too. So look him up. Get tickets. Come out and support him. It's pretty big for him and the gym as well. He's our only real MMA fighter. We have James now, but for a long time you're the only guy that really was from the gym that's doing the MMA stuff. So it's good to get you back in there and get you on your pro debut. So good luck to you, brother. And again, come out and support us. If you don't come out and support Jay this weekend, you're a jerk. No, I'm just kidding. But get a hold of him. Like, subscribe, share, comment. Anything you want. Tell people about the podcast. This is something that we're kind of having a lot of fun doing. And again, we're gonna have some good guests coming up. Hopefully we'll get Brock Larson on soon. That's another thing coming up. And we got a lot of the audio equipment stuff I put the post out about today. So once I figure out everything, we'll get that worked out. And
Got to do some experimenting too.
yeah, and we're going to do some side podcasts that we probably won't post, where we're just kind of figuring out what works and how to get all this stuff right. Because, again, it's a lot of audio equipment stuff I've never worked with, so I'm kind of new to a lot of this. So we'll figure it out.
Figure it out on the fly.
Yeah, and hopefully, we don't get podcasts where, again, I'm yelling or I'm too quiet. And I know some of the audio and the volumes of stuff has been a little weird for this, just because, again, it's on the phone. But all that is within the next 3-4 weeks going to be taken care of, and we're going to have a whole new theme for the podcast. All the beginning, everything's going to be new. Logos, all that stuff's coming out within the next month. So big things are coming. Again, follow Jay, follow us, follow me, Ryan Stock, Magic Man. And if you guys know anybody that wants to help us out, just have them email us. All right, and a big thanks to our sponsor, Justin Coball at Precision Detailing. He's helped us out a lot. His kids train at the gym. He's a great guy. And the stuff he's done for us so far, and just helping us and coming to the gym and just believing in what we do is amazing so far. And again, we're looking for more sponsors. We just got our investment that's coming in again. Again, that's helped with all the equipment and everything. So we're kind of revamping all this stuff. So again, check out. It's gonna get big, and we're gonna do a lot of different stuff. We're gonna hopefully have different camera angles and all kinds of fun stuff. So that's all in the works. But again, thanks to Justin Coball at Precision Detailing. His number will be in the next little slide at the end of this. Again, get a hold of him if you're in the Rochester, Minnesota area. You're looking to get detail of your car, party buses. He does all kinds of stuff. So get a hold of him if you want anything you need, especially now that the winter's over.
Finally.
I'm sure everybody's trying to get their cars detailed, cleaned out, and he's the guy to go to, and somebody I trust, and I know is a really great guy, and is a great father, great husband, and the time that I haven't met him, I've been able to learn a lot from him about his business and kind of what he's gone through, and he's got a really great story as well. And so we're gonna get Justin on the podcast at some point as well. So thank you guys again. This has been the Rundown. I'm Ryan Stock of the Prodigy.
Jay Paulson, the Magic Man.
And we'll catch you guys next time. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Peace.